Hey, so I was talking to one of my buddies yesterday, and he was saying that he hadn't listened to Tool very much, and he was bored and wanted to give them a try. And he was saying that Tool is just very bad music. I think he may have made the argument that it's some of the worst music he had listened to. And part of his reasoning for that is because he felt like he could, anytime that they start to do a part that's cool, he felt as if he could hear in his head a way that the song could be made cooler than that. And he also had this argument that all of their songs sound like a cover song, like as if they're covering another band. Um, so I wanted to make this video in defense of Tool, just a quick video about my thoughts on Tool. Why I think that their music is pretty good. Um, but before I say, I'll tell you a quick story. Uh, when I was a kid, my dad and I bonded over music a lot. When I was very young, like less than 10 years old, when I was very young, he would burn CDs. He was very into torrenting music, and he like showed me how to do it. And I remember the first time he had me make a little. He opened iTunes, and I could just make a CD of any of the songs he had in his iTunes, and I thought that was really special. And he used to have this black pickup truck, and we would listen to music all the time. And he he was showing me Tool, and I don't know if it was the first time I had ever listened to Tool before, but I remember the first time that I recall listening to Tool, and it was the song Enema, and I was probably 7 to 9 years old, and I remember asking him, I was like, Dad, do all of their songs cuss this much? Because I thought that the cussing was so cool. I loved how much it cussed. I thought that was like thrilling to me. And he was like, kind of. They kind of cuss that much. That one cusses a lot, so maybe not as much as this song, but yeah, as a 7, 8, 9-year-old, I was impressed. I was enthralled by how much Tool cussed, and I liked that. Um, Tool's very divisive. There are people, kind of like the Beatles, there are people who, they say they're the greatest band in the world. They say that their music is imbued with a philosophy. They love the style and the aesthetic of Tool. And then there are also people who say that they didn't make an impact as big as people like to make out. But what I would like to make the argument for is that they are just a pretty good band. Um, Let me take a bite of this sugar cookie that my girlfriend made me. Let me take a bite of that. Um, Pretty good. On my way home from work this morning, I uh, I went on Spotify, and I just listened to some of their top songs, their most played songs, and I think that it's good. I mean, all the recordings are really high quality, really good mix. It's like semi-transparent. It's kind of cooked a little bit. It's compressed, but it's dynamic. It's dynamic mix, and I think that that sounds good. So sonically, the music sounds really good, and I think that is a positive thing. I also think that Maynard's lyrics are pretty good. I at least understand what he is trying to say, which I'm kind of picky about. Sometimes people will write lyrics and they want to have some sort of message, but the message is not very clear, whether that be on purpose or just I personally don't agree, like my mind doesn't agree uh, with the lyrical style But I understand what Maynard is usually talking about, and I think that that's good too. I don't think that their music is all that offensive. I think typically the problem that people have with Tool is uh, a preconceived notion because their fan base is uh, pretty serious. They have a fan base that's very serious. People definitely think that they're the best band in the world. And when people are passionate about something, typically, maybe not always, definitely not always, but sometimes people will use um, a serious tone, as if you don't agree with their perspective that they've come to over time, then you've offended them by by not clicking or connecting with the music that they have immediately, which is unfair. That's unfair. Um, so I think a lot of people already have a preconceived notion about Tool before they listen to them. If you haven't listened to them when you were very young, and even if you did listen to them when you were very young, you can pretty much say, let's say 3 out of 4 times, that whoever showed you Tool was pretty into them, or at least one point was pretty into them. I think that I got lucky. I got lucky with my dad showing me them because he didn't. It's not his favorite band. It's not even close to his favorite band, but he does like them. I think sometimes people underestimate how much when you are shown something new, especially art or like a movie or music or some sort of concept, uh, people underestimate that the tone of voice that you have. There are a lot of conditions that can make an impact on your initial feeling about something when you are introduced to it. And I think that if you are introduced to something as if, you know, there's something wrong with you, or you have bad taste, or, you know, you're not cool or something, if you don't immediately connect to it, then that can leave a bad taste in your mouth pretty quickly. And I think there are a lot of people who have that bad taste in their mouth, and because of that, they haven't felt the need to go back and see, to try to listen to something and consciously make an effort to say, like, okay, I know that a lot of people like this, and maybe it feels like I'm supposed to like this in a way, but I'm gonna just listen to it and see how I feel. That's definitely one of the conditions, but there's a lot of conditions. Like if a friend has ever sent you a link to music and they feel excited about it, but let's say that you open that link and or like you see the link, you don't open it, but you have a headache. You might It might take you a while to come back to that link because when you first saw that, you weren't in a very good mood. You weren't in the right headspace to accept that. Um, but I don't think that there's a lot to hate about their music. There's definitely music that is much more complex than that. There was music that was much more complex than that at the time, as well. I'm not sure how revolutionary or super innovative their music was, but I still think that I think that it is more often than not palatable music. So I don't think Tool is worthy of hating, and I also don't think that they're worthy of uh, idolizing either. So that's my defense of Tool. Just wanted to share that. That was my thought, and I guess some thoughts about the way that we share music. And I guess if there's anything to take away from this video, it's just don't be mean about music. There's no reason to be mean about music. It's it's supposed to be fun, and the moment that you stop having fun with music that's the failure, I think. Thanks.